December 2nd, 2020. This one here, I got a customer that has a gas boiler that was put in a couple of years ago, and it's kind of like in a real, kind of like in a crawl space area where this boiler is. And he also has a gas water heater, and there's really not a lot of height in there, so the gas water heater doesn't even have a draft hood on. It just got an elbow, and then it goes over to one of them old style draft hoods. I could put a barometric damper on it, but he wants to change. He wants to take that gas water heater out, and he wants to put a stainless steel storage tank in there off another zone on the boiler, which is, I have it in the truck, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back with a 40-gallon storage tank, you know, off another zone. Take another, probably a 3/4 zone off the boiler, heat that storage tank up. It's only a small house. It's only him and his wife that live in there. Usually them storage tanks are supposed to feed the supply and return with 1 inch on boiler part for the BTU rating. But, you know, if there's only a couple of people in the house, and sometimes I'll go with a 3/4 loop. Most of the time it works fine, you know. But sometimes if you get a lot of bathrooms, you get a lot of people in the house, you might have to go with a 1 inch supply and return. That's really the proper way of doing it, but it's easy to go with the 3/4, and that's what I'm probably going to go here with this. I never had a complaint when someone said, oh my God, I don't have enough hot water with one of these storage tanks running a 3/4 loop on it. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go there, rip and tear. You'll see when I get there that it's not really a lot of room for that water tank in this little area. It's like, I think I got 50 inches from the floor to the bottom of the joist. So, and the stainless steel storage tank I have, I think it's 46 on the height of it. So it'll fit in there. He has a 3-zone control on that boiler, and he's only using 2 zones. So he must have put one in that was thinking about putting a storage tank in eventually. And so I have room to put. I have room on that other 3-zone control to hook up this Aquastat and you know, the new Circulator too. So. It's about 7:15 in the morning. I should get there about 7:30, and I should be out of there by 2 o'clock. I'm thinking, all done. I'm hoping 1, 2 o'clock maybe. It depends, because it's a crawl space, so you're on your hands and knees all day. Might take me a little longer. I don't know. You're not like walking. You can't walk in there. You gotta kind of crawl in there. So it's not the greatest. I left the dog home, and I'll try to get you guys some shots when I get there. Yeah, legally you're supposed to have 6 inches here, and I don't know if they even got that.
No, there's no 6 inches.
There's no 6 inches. See the draft hood? It's kind of a queer setup. And that's only a 30-gallon, right? Well, so we're going to take that right out. So you're in the toilet with the pump?
Yeah, it's in there.
Alright. I got this off. I got this off. This is coming out. I got the boiler off over here. Get this thing draining. I got the water off to the house. You got it in the toilet?
Yep, it's in.
Alright. It's going in the toilet? Alright, so I'm bringing my tools down there while that's draining. I'm hot on the knees today. I got the water off right there. Just like that, yeah.
Okay, close that.
Yeah, so
no problem.
I just stick it in a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like that in the seat, so the seat stops it from blowing off. Yeah, it's actually B-vent. I'm surprised. Draft hood. We're gonna put a plug in that. I got a 4-inch cap for that. Get the gas pipe off here. like I said, I got the water off to the house, so everything's draining back through the tank. Probably gonna cut this here with the grinders to get this thing out of here. And I gotta drain the boiler down because I gotta tie into the. I'm probably gonna take that out and put a T there, black T. And it'll probably come out of here with another black T for the supply. Only 1 inch coming off the top. I really need to get to the full chooch. And I got a control over there that's got an extra zone that's not being used I could tie into. Probably come right off the bottom of that boiler. Take that boiler drain out, put a black T in there, and come right off of that with a circulator. This is coming out. This is an 08, he said. So it's already 12 years old. This is a 30. I'm going with a 40-gallon storage tank. This will have to shut the gas off and put a plug in this thing. Probably put a plug right here. See, the storage tank is actually going to be quite a bit shorter than the tank. So we'll get this out of here and we'll get that in place. See, it's a little crawl space, like, you know. So in the return, I just took the drain out. I put this 3/4 T, black T, the ball valve, in a piece. I'm going to put the circulator right here. I got to spin the circulator because it's upside down. The arrow's going this way on the return. But you could take this apart with these. You could take these 4 and you could spin this thing. There's an O-ring in there. You got to make sure the O-ring's in the right spot. You could spin that. I could spin that 180 so that the cover's on the top. And also I took the high vent out of this where the relief valve is, and I just put a 3/4 black T with a ball valve. That'll be my, that'll be my supply there. I could have took that apart and reworked this, but it's just easier. Sometimes you gotta keep things simple, stupid, right? And then this is a lot lower. Gives me a lot more room. I'm not going to put it up on blocks. I'm going to leave it just right where it is. I could move it back more if I want. I probably will come a little closer with it. On the probe here, it comes with stuff that you could put inside the probe there, like compound. I never use that stuff because they'll weld that weld together, and you'll never be able to get that control out again. So I never use that. Looks almost like never sees. I never use that compound. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't believe in it, so I just put it in the probe in there dry, and it seems to work for me. So that's the way I fly. I'll just take this motor out and spin it. I mean, I could leave it like this, but why? There's an O-ring in there. You gotta make sure the O-ring's in the right spot, doesn't pop out. I'll show it to you when I get it out. And on the new motors now that they have, the ECM motors, the 007E, when you mount them, the writing has to be like this. That's what they say. See the O-ring in there? So I could just spin this whatever way I want. Can't go this way because of the bolts. It's got to go up. But the ECM motors, when they're mounted, the lettering should be like this, they say. It's a little tech tip. If you pinch that O-ring, you're going to be screwed, right? So you're better off taking your time. Make sure you do it right. Some of the 007s used to have a 5/16 5/16 unit on there instead of this hex. Is what it is. It's a 007. This one's got a C. It's got a check valve in it, so I don't need a check valve on the supply. It's got a built-in check valve on this, and the arrows going in for the return. Some guys get all bumhurt about putting circulators on the return. I have no issue with it. I think they actually run a lot cooler on the return than on the supply circulators. They say it'll work better on the supply. Push away from the tank. Myself, 99.999, all the ones I work on are on the return. So, I'm not sure if I believe all that bullshit these guys say. Be honest with you. Alright, so that's spun around. That's no big deal. I'm going to start doing some copper work now. On these I got 1 inch, 1 by 3/4 male adapters, reduced down to 3/4. The water line's right here, the cold and the hot. I'll have to do something with that. Relief valve on this comes out of the top. It's got to be an 8-inch one. It's coming off the top. It's got to be 8-inch. If it comes off the side, it can be a 4-inch. If it goes in the top of the tank, it's got to be an 8-inch. That's code in my state. It's always good to solder these ahead of time, and I'll cut them a little bit longer. Cut them 5 inches or so. Let them cool before you thread them in, right? So these male adapters are always better to prep them. This is M tubing because it's for the heat, so don't need to be L. It's thin wall. M tubing. It's okay for the heat part. The water part will have to be L. Put a little flux on there. What that does is when you heat it, the flux will pull the solder in. Without the flux, it won't work. The flux pulls the solder in. That's how it works. See, when you get a good little snot on the bottom, you know you're good. And you can put so much in there, and that's it. Now when it's brass, it's a little bit different. I came over here, dropped down. Gotta put a drain. I could use this at low points, a drain and also a purge station, because I got a shut off over there. And on a supply, I came over with an elbow. And I'm going to put a high vent here, so it's going to be self-bleeding. So I won't have to purge it, it'll be self-bleeding. Seeing it's coming off the top of the boiler there. That's what I'm going to do. Yo, how you doing, Mama? all hooked up. What I did on the supply was I put a T there and I raised the high vent up. I came over with a ball valve. One elbow, that's a supplying the heat. I come over to a high vent, so it's going to be self-purging. And I drop down into the boiler supply. There's a coil in here. And on the boiler return, I took that boiler drain out of that bushing and I put a black T there. Came over with a ball valve to a circulator. And I came over and I dropped down, put a drain on the low part of the tank on the heating zone. So that's the heating part of it. That's all M tubing. Alright. And I hook up the aquastat with a thermostat wire. Hooked up 110 to the circulator, ran it over, wire tied everything into the control box. There's the third zone, and then there's the thermostat wire coming from the aquastat pulling that third zone. So I could put this back. That should be fine. The Honeywell ones come with a reverse where you could put the third zone on a reverse, so the third zone calls, and these other zones won't come on until this is satisfied. I got this factory set where it should be. Okay, on the cold water, I came over. I left this valve that was here. There is a new vacuum breaker put in up high there. Came over on a cold, I dropped down, put a boiler drain here with a brass nipple into the tank. Cold water and drain. So the cold water's got a drain on the bottom. So I got a drain for the domestic, a drain for the heating. I could use this as a purge valve too, because there's a ball valve there. And then coming out of the top, with a male adapter, 2 elbows. And I connected it right here with a coupling. Out the back with the relief valve, 12 inches off the floor. I should be able to fill it now with water. I started it at 7:30. It's not so bad. I still have to pick everything up and get the tank back to my shop and all that. So, like I said, I'll be done by 1. Alright, so let's fill it. I still got to turn the gas on outside. I got the gas off outside. I did plug that too, so this tank should start filling. Hopefully I got no leaks. I did plug that. I got to turn the gas back on yet. Should be full of air. Yeah, I'm bleeding all the air out now. You want to bleed all your lines upstairs. Yeah, go around and bleed all the hot and the cold, and once the air comes out and there's water, you can shut it off.
Yeah, okay.
This packing nut's leaking, I gotta tighten that up. Usually I wouldn't put a valve upside down like that. Yeah, it's not a big fan of putting things upside down like that, but I don't see any leaks. It was just from the valve dripping. What we're gonna have to do is purge all these zones. I got 2 returns right there. I gotta purge the heating system. And I gotta turn the gas on and give it the old how you doing. I got this off right now. And I got the other 2 returns off, first and second. I'm gonna just purge out the hose. I got another purge over there. That feeder might have been stuck. Must be on my block list. That's first. And that must be second over there. I'm just gonna purge these out good. There's a lot of air in there, you can hear it. See the hose doing the funky chicken? It's full of air. And make sure you don't give it too much below the relief valve either.
What about the toilet?
Okay, we'll move back over to this one. We're gonna make sure that this one works good. Make sure it don't go above 30. You know, you can play around with the relief valve, but he's got good pressure here, so you gotta make sure you don't blow the relief valve. We don't want to start more problems than what we have, but we're worth it, right? Boiler's off right now because the gas is off outside still. Here we go. Give it a good purge. You can see the hose moving a little bit. There's air in there. While I'm here, give it a good one. See, we're starting to climb around 30. At 30, the relief valve will blow, so we have to be careful. What am I doing? I'm just playing with this thing here to keep it. Huh? Yeah, I did it, yeah. Well, it's just full of air, obviously. This is going to work out a lot better. You got a lot more room down here.
Yeah, well, I can see. It looks good. Now, is that a stainless tank or a regular tank?
All stainless.
Excellent. That'll be good until I'm dead.
Yeah, they're good. They last a while.
Oh, yeah, see.
They said this one's self-bleeding. Right? This one should be self-bleeding. We'll make sure they're all coming back nice and warm before I go, but Houston, we have ignition. I took the gas pipe right out of the equation here. I'm gonna pick up all my stuff. Only like 50 inches to the roof here, so. Gotta get the initial purge out of it, but it is, you know, should be self-bleeding, but you got to get the original purge out of it. Ooh, that's nice. Them two are nice and warm. It'll take a little while to heat up, but thing's full of cold water right now. He's starting to come back nice and warm on the return, going out nice and hot. If there's any air that accumulates, this should get rid of it, but I did have to purge it. Just shut off there, and the purge valve here, obviously, right? It's just coming back nice and warm now, so. All the zones are working, we're good to go. I got all the supplies back on. Ball valves, no leak there. I'm not a big fan of that thing upside down, but I don't want to play around with that. Good enough for this neighborhood. It's actually a 38 gallon Hanoid rod there. By the time I get back to the shop and unload it, it'll be 1 o'clock. 7:30 to 1 is 5.5 hours. Not bad. I'd like to see some of these young guys try to do that. It'll be two guys take them all day. Alright, the truck's empty. I'm going on my next job. So yeah, like I said, 1 o'clock. It ain't easy being cheesy, mama. It ain't easy being cheesy, y'all.
Turn left on Cross Road.